What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Turf Therapy. In today's episode of Turf Therapy, we're going to learn how to collect a soil sample, pack it up, send it off. But it's a special kind of soil testing that we're doing because we're going to be doing a comparison of a brand new company, My Soil test kit, that's actually specifically designed and made for the homeowner in DIY. See, me, myself, I'm doing my testing through my I'm doing my testing through the University of Delaware soil testing program. So I'm gonna go through their lawn and garden section to get these tested, but I'm also going to run a comparison as far as what those results look like from the two different places. And then I'm also gonna see how easy it is to read. I can already tell you the easier one to use is gonna be this one, hands down, especially if you're not familiar and not all that comfortable with preparing a soil sample to send off. This is gonna be your guy already. But this one costs $29.95 and the one from the university costs $15. Now I do have to pay for the shipping and ship it back, so that'll probably all in all equal to somewhere around 20 bucks. But nevertheless, it is cheaper. So we will compare the results based off the actual nutrients and the recommendations, along with the ease of understanding and digesting that information. So let's jump right into it. I have 4 samples in front of me, right? What I did was I took my garden beds and I combined them, and you'll see me taking some samples from the garden bed right here. I'll throw that up on the screen. So I got samples from the garden bed. I made sure I tried to get about 10 samples per garden bed. I think I ended up getting more, but you definitely want to take notice to how I'm moving back and forth as I collect my samples in my garden bed. So I broke my samples up into 4 zones, as you can see right here in front of me. So I did my garden beds together. I did my front yard, which I'm rezoning this season. My front yard is the front portion and then the parkway. And then I did zone 2, which is the backyard, right? So that is the backyard. And then this is zone 3, which is the side yard. The side yard plus the side parkway as well. So that's how I have separated those. Now, after I did that, I mixed them all together and I prepared them. And just so you can see what that looks like, I did that on a previous day. So I'll go ahead and show you some footage of that right now. Welcome back. It's not that hard, is it, right? So with your garden beds, the only special notes I have for you is to make sure that you're going anywhere from 6 to 8 inches is probably what's going to be recommended for your garden beds. And then for your lawns, you're going to want to go from 4 to 5 inches when you're collecting your samples. And then each sample kit will come with pretty straightforward directions as far as how you're supposed to collect those samples and to remove the debris on the top. So I'm not going to beat that dead horse here. No, we're not going to do that. So I want to just open up the kit here with you guys and see what this experience is like. So I already have my paperwork filled out for the university one. So some things that we want to talk about and discuss when you want to keep in mind for soil sampling. So based off what I've learned so far, some things that are the most important things about the soil sample that you want to get right is you definitely don't want to send in muddy water, okay? We're not sending in muddy water unless we're making muddy water, which is what we're gonna do with this sample over here, which I think is pretty cool too. You must get adequate amount of samples. This small sample is a representation of my whole garden bed. You know, this small sample of my front yard is supposed to be an accurate depiction of what my 700 square feet is up here in the front. And so on and so forth. Same with the backyard, same with the side yard. So if you're someone who's dealing with like an acre and you have to pull a soil sample for an acre, Imagine you're gonna wanna make sure that you have a pattern that makes sense, that you're getting samples from every, let's say, 500 or 1,000 square feet, however you wanna see fit. But remember that this is, parts, most of these tests are being done in the parts per millions and whatnot. So you wanna give them an adequate sample so they can give you a valid test back. Another thing to keep in mind that you definitely wanna make sure that you do from year to year is kind of stick with, you're gonna wanna stick with whomever it is that you're going through your testing for. You're gonna wanna stick with those guys. And the reason why is because different places use different techniques to test their soil. And if you're bouncing back and forth between different testing places, it's almost like going to a different barber every weekend. Your cut's just not going to be the same each time. We all know when we find that one barber that cuts the hair exactly the way that we want them to cut, think of it like that. When you get your barber, you kind of want to be loyal to your barber. So when you pick your soil company, you kind of want to try to be loyal with your soil testing. Another thing to keep in mind is whether or not they're going to do recommendations specific to your area. So just keep that in mind, guys. And then I know that some of these testing places, they do some special tests, and some special tests may be rolled up into it due to maybe a concern in the area or something that you guys may have voted on to the soil testing program. Who knows? But if you go with a local place, it may have some better recommendations to you, for you in your specific area. So I'm not saying let's not go with the mail-in order kind of soil test. I'm just saying keep these things in mind when you're looking for someone to do your soil test. So this is the front yard, right? In the front yard, I'm also going to be sharing this one with the My Soil. So I will be testing the My Soil against the front yard's Zone 1's sample. We'll see what that looks like. All right, so I got the backyard. These were the original bags that they came with. I lost 2 of the bags, and so it'll be all right. One thing that I noticed when I was doing my sample collections, guys, is on my parkways, I have a whole bunch of rocks, which I thought was really cool to know that I have a whole bunch of rocks. So now when I start seeing it go under a lot more stress, that's something to keep in mind during the summertime, not to automatically panic, but remember that the living conditions up underneath the soil of my parkway is pretty crappy. Like there's a lot of rock in there because I was hitting a lot of rock when I was, getting my samples. So getting out in your yard, walking your lawn as we come out of this winter into this beautiful weather here in this early teaser spring we're getting right now. Like right now the sun is beating on my back and it feels so good. Gosh, it feels so good. Summer is almost here, guys. It is almost here. So I highly encourage you to get out there. I want you to rediscover your lawn. And what does that mean? That just means go back out there as if you've never walked in your lawn ever in your entire life. Go out there and do that. I encourage you to do that because you'll see some things or notice something that you thought you knew about your lawn, but you had no idea. All right, so the My Soil testing kit. We have this instruction, piece of paper. This is my kit registration. All right. So collecting a good soil sample, collecting soil. All right, so they recommend you do 5 to 7 separate locations within your desired testing area. That's good advice. Depth of 6 inches. We already discussed that. And then they say combine it into a large plastic bag or a bucket, and you mix it up just like we did here. So I'm good here as far as the instructions. Now all I need to do is using the provided scoop, collect 1 level scoop of the mixed soil and add it to the jar containing the DI water nutrient absorbent capsule. Firmly secure lid. That's it. All right. This is cool, guys. This is nifty. This is nifty. It just screams DIY friendly. Look at that. Cool, isn't that cool? It's a cool little box. So I like it. So we got our scoop, right? I'm gonna go ahead and crack that seal on this. Got a little protective seal. And then we lost the box, no big deal. Let's get us a even sample. Okay, go ahead and add that in there. Cool. Sweet. Bow, and it's done. It's done. It's that easy. All done. All right, I like this. I love the idea of this alone. Just this, that was so easy. So, for those of you who don't know or understand why we're doing the soil testing, this is why we do it. This is why we do it. We do it so we know what we're going to throw down and why. To be responsible stewards while we're out here having a good time as young adults and old adults or big kids and grown-up bodies, we should be responsible. So with us being responsible, that is why we do the soil testing, so we know how to properly amend our soil. That's the whole point in it. And I got a big old batch of amending of soils to do. Now, I went ahead and bought my stuff because I know how I'm going to use it throughout the year. And I will flex how I'm going to use it based off what my soil results say. Does that make sense? Like I kind of already know which products I'm going with, and then I just need to know how I'm going to use them throughout the season. And that's what I use the soil testing to do. I use that to help me figure out what that's going to be. I do want to talk about the quality of the packaging that Yard Mastery has done with our new DIY bags from Carbon Earth. First off, I'm impressed. I am impressed, guys. So like to compare this to an old bag, right? I got an old bag of 818 and an old bag of Carbon X. Actually, OG, that's an OG bag of Carbon X right there. And then I got this of the 818. So you should be able to see how these corners are tucked in now. That's much better and a much more stable bag in my opinion. Also, I'm not sure, I'm gonna guess, but feeling the mill strength on this versus this, they may have taken a step up on the mill strength as well. But I know for alone that design right there solves you a lot of ache and pain. Now it does make it a little annoying when you're emptying the bag because you got stuff like stuck up there in the corner, but nevertheless you got a better packaging altogether. So that's pretty much all I got, guys. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Turf Therapy, where we are healing lawns and souls. I'll see you next week for your weekly dose of therapy with Rob.